shut up, you listen to my monkey mouth. There's a companion when you got pun on the canoa route. Hopped in a portal and got in a fight, Elias knocked him out. Bow, Naruto fighting style. Bow, UFC he tapped out. Bow, we win, we get crowned. Monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.
Alrighty everybody, welcome back to the Konoha Companion. This is Joshua, as always. I'm your Konoha Companion. And on this episode, we're going to be covering episode 39 of Naruto, entitled Bushy Brow'S Jealousy, Barrage of Lions Unleashed. And I want to go over the previous episode before we dive off into that episode too thoroughly. I just in my own words kind of briefly so that we can all be caught up, make sure we're all on the same page. So it takes us back to whenever the Hokage is addressing the students and is basically telling them that fighting and dying to maintain balance within the shinobi world is friendship. That's something that they've driven back into it several times. And it's something the Hokage said, so it's something that should probably be noted. Hayate Gecko is on the brink of death, seemingly, right? He's coughing and just sounding like general dog shit. And but he's the proctor of the third exam, and he tells everybody that he's going to be running the preliminary exam, which is consisting of a sudden death one-on-one fight to the death / concession of defeat / proctor stoppage fight to trim out half the field effective immediately. Hayate gives them an opportunity to quit on their own, and Kabuto takes it. He doesn't need to be there now that Orochimaru's there. Yoroi questions him, and Kabuto says that he's basically leaving it to him at this point, and it's given Yoroi an opportunity to prove himself to Orochimaru and usurp Kabuto as kind of Orochimaru's favorite and right-hand man. Hiruzen, Lord Third, Sarutobi gets suspicious and asks the other Jonin about Kabuto, and it's basically revealed that he's failed 6 times, has always been super duper mediocre. He's an orphan of war. He's the lone survivor of the enemy side of what was referred to as the Battle of Kikyo Pass. And he was like a child, right? He wasn't like a combatant. And basically it was a sympathetic medical Jonin who brought him back. Sasuke's curse mark acts up, and Sakura pleads with him to drop out. She even threatens to turn him in, but Sasuke stops her. Anko, so at this point the higher-ups are aware of what's going on. They know that Sasuke's fucking got this curse mark. No one's hiding nothing. But they're having a debate over what they should do, and Anko says that they should lock him up, and Kakashi says that this is not going to work, that Sasuke is the new Uchiha. Apparently that would make him, for some reason, someone who wouldn't be down to get locked up. Hasn't really gone into that too much, what's going on there, but Lord Third ultimately decides to let it play out, and that if things get out of hand, they'll just handle it themselves, right? It's within their grasp, they can handle it, it's fine. Sasuke cares not for titles. He's there to become as strong as he possibly can, and he's going to do that by fighting the strongest. Sasuke admits that Naruto is one of the strongest that he wants to fight. He's actually one of the ones that he wants to fight the most, which is, again, Sasuke kind of acknowledging Naruto, which is dope. Kakashi warns Sasuke not to use his Sharingan or ninjutsu or to really overdo it, because it could activate the curse mark, and if that happens, he's going to have to step in and end the fight, and that's going to nerf his opportunity to advance to Chunin. Ino notices Sasuke is acting funny. Ino is always pretty effectively tuned in with Sasuke. Sasuke thinks that every time the curse mark acts up, it gains a little bit more control over him. And Sasuke hits Yoroi with a slick armbar counterattack, but Yoroi gets a hold of him using his jutsu, where he's basically got a hold of him by the head, and his hands lit up with blue chakra. And it's all looking real bad for Sasuke, and the episode ends. So this episode starts a little bit back, right, how it typically does, and Sasuke's, in line, dealing with the curse mark, and Sakura's pleading with him to quit. Sasuke and Yoroi get called up to fight, and at this point, Kakashi kind of steps in and, to the sly, it's yo, if that curse mark acts up, it could be potentially life-threatening, and if I see that going on, I'm going to have to like step in and end it for you. You know, we're not gonna let you go down in the tuning exams. The fight starts, and like literally the moment they like fire the gun, the curse mark acts up, and like Sasuke is even like, already, and Yoroi gets the advantage and basically has his hand on his head, and he's like infusing chakra, and the title slide comes in, Bushy Brow's Jealousy, and then Sasuke reads Lions Barrage Unleashed. Sasuke realizes that Yoroi is draining his chakra, and Yoroi kind of like laughs at him like, nah, you're just now realizing, little punk. And Orochimaru thinks that Yoroi's draining, he thinks to himself in a bit of like exposition that Yoroi is draining physical and spiritual energy and chakra through the palms of his hands, and once all of that chakra is gone, Sasuke is going to have to rely on the power of the curse mark, and he believes that's going to be Sasuke's only way out of the situation. So he's about to like get to see firsthand how this curse mark infused Sasuke is going to act. I remember whenever like curse mark came out, Sasuke like broke Zaku's arms type shit and was like mega OP, and so it's kind of like his equivalent of the Kurama nine-tail energy. And Sasuke, however, works up the will to kick Yoroi off of him, and this obviously like surprises Yoroi. Yoroi thought that he was pretty effectively incapacitated. Yoroi charges forward with his palm attack, and Sasuke dodges it like several times. Sasuke kicks at Yoroi, who dodges it, and they square up, and Sasuke thinks that he doesn't have the speed to stay away from Yoroi, which is pretty incredible because Sasuke was like regarded for his speed even by Haku with the crystal ice mirrors. Like even Haku's little had several times mentioned how fast that Sasuke was and how it was like impossible for someone to move that fast. So Sasuke is quick, and apparently Yoroi is quicker, or he's just like somewhat incapacitated by his chakra having been drained. Either way, he's not able to quite keep up with Yoroi, and Yoroi is like laughing at him at this point, and Gaara thinks mockingly that, you know, the great Sasuke Uchiha, is that all that he's got? But like everybody's really watching. Naruto yells and gives Sasuke a little pep talk, right, like, you're a new Uchiha, you can't let this punk do that to you type shit, and this causes Sasuke to like look up and over at Naruto, and he also sees like Bushy Brow in them, like he sees the important people, right? And Sasuke like has a moment of inspiration, but in this moment Yoroi notices that Sasuke's attention is elsewhere and charges in. And Yoroi attacks Sasuke, but Sasuke avoids it several times, but right when Yoroi thinks that he's got him, Sasuke like vanishes, and suddenly from underneath him like uppercut kicks him from underneath, just like how Bushy Brow did to him whenever they were fighting outside of the classroom. Bushy Brow takes like definite notice, as does like Kakashi and Guy Sensei. Like the people who are smart and the people who have like first-hand experience with Guy's form of taijutsu were like, wow, Guy's taijutsu. So Sasuke copied that shit with that Sharingan. Like Kakashi's copycat ninja, because the Sharingan, Sasuke isn't a new Uchiha, right? So he's gonna have that. He's gonna have that going for him as well. Naruto also sees this and is shocked by it. Sasuke, like while they're flying through the air, his curse mark activates. It like starts to like spread across his body and everything. But by like sheer force of will, he makes the curse mark recede. Right, like whenever he starts thinking of Naruto and Sakura, are like the thoughts that give him the strength to force it back. This shocks everybody who's like in the know, right? Like anybody who knows what that curse mark is and knows what's happening whenever it activates was pretty goddamn shocked to see him make it recede on his own, right? It's not something that you would expect, right? But I mean, at this point, Anko's also already said previously that It's shocking to her that he's even upstanding as it is, that the curse mark should have killed him, and that if it didn't kill him, he should be like basically bedridden. But instead, here he is up fighting and like fighting back the curse mark on his own. So like again, Sasuke is like a beast. Sasuke goes to kick Yoroi as they continue flying through the air, but Yoroi blocks it, which opens him up for a counterpunch to the other side. It opens him up to a counterpunch to the side, and Sasuke catches him. And the force of this punch sends Yoroi towards the ground, right? Like they're like fighting, they're flying through the air, and Yoroi like kind of blocks, and Sasuke hits him, and now he's flying towards the ground. Sasuke punches him downward again, giving him even more force, just as Yoroi is going to land on the ground, and Sasuke kicks him, and he like kicks him straight into the ground, right? And it's basically his Lion's Barrage, right? His take on the move that Bushy Brow did to him before. So he basically punched him down to the ground, punched him midway down, and then like kicked him with full force right into the dirt. The impact literally like cracks the ground beneath Yoroi, and he winds up like spitting up blood, and he's like knocked out. Yoroi's defeated. Sasuke stands up and is declared the winner by the proctor Hayate Gecko, and Sasuke falls to his butt on the floor, and as he goes to fall back, Kakashi like catches him with his knee. Like he like, instead of him falling back, he like has Kakashi's leg to lean back into. Kakashi gives him props and points out that the taijutsu he used looked very much like Guy Sensei's, and that he must have learned it by using the Sharingan during the fight with Rock Lee. So there you go, Kakashi's on it, but Kakashi has Sharingan experience, and he's also like Guy's rival, so he has experience with the Sharingan and with Guy's jutsu, so it like would make sense that he'd be one of the ones to piece it together. Naruto yells and congratulates Sasuke, but also talks a little shit too, like as friends do. Sasuke thinks that if he hadn't seen Rock Lee's moves when they fought, he probably like wouldn't have won the fight. It would have all turned out much differently, I think is the exact words that he uses. Rock Lee is mind blown, right? He can't believe that Sasuke was able to copy him after seeing his moves only once. Guy also is pretty shocked. He thinks to himself that it takes more than just a Sharingan to pull off moves like Sasuke just did, and that Sasuke reminds him of Kakashi when Kakashi was young, right? Like it takes some real talent to do what he just did the way he did it. 1010 recognizes Sasuke as one of the strongest, or actually the strongest of the year's class, and can't wait to see who's stronger, Sasuke or Neji. Remember, Neji was the strongest of last year's class of rookie Genin. Granted, he's a Genin still, but he's not a rookie Genin, right? Like, it's not a first-year Genin. Guy held them back so that they could get stronger and experience and enjoy their youth a little bit, which is cool. Kakashi can't believe Sasuke's been able to develop his Sharingan to such a point at such a young age, and that he legit hasn't even reached his full potential as an Uchiha yet. Anko can't believe Sasuke forced back the curse mark. Remember, Anko has first-hand experience with a curse mark from Orochimaru. She even uses some of like the snake jutsu that Orochimaru does. And so, yeah, she would be like the person to know and to use as a barometer to determine how Sasuke is handling the situation. And she's like consistently completely blown away by how strong he is and how able he is to handle the trials of the curse mark at this point. Gaara is like trembling, like he's bloodthirsty right now, like a fucking freak. And Kankuro is like clearly worried about it, right? Orochimaru's legit like got a rager right now. Like he's like shaking and trembling and like like licking his chops, being a freak. Being Orochimaru. Orochimaru, creepy dude, creepy feller. Everyone else is basically super impressed, right? It kind of gives a lot of the people who matter a quick, moment on the screen so that you could see their reaction. But the point is that everybody was watching the 10-10. and everyone is basically shocked and impressed by the capacity of Sasuke. And so Kakashi stops the medical ninja from taking Sasuke, right? They show up and they're taking Yoroi, and they're like, we're going to take Sasuke too. And he's like, nah, man, you guys are out of y'all's depth right now. I'm going to take care of Sasuke. And as they're going to leave, Naruto wonders about Sasuke's mark, right? He saw it acting up midair, and he asks Sakura about it. And Sakura keeps her promise to Sasuke and doesn't tell Naruto about it. And it flashes back to a point whenever Sasuke basically said that it doesn't do the team any good by having Naruto worrying about it. There's nothing that Naruto can do, so we might as well keep him in the dark so that he's the most effective Naruto that he can be. Right? We don't need him distracted by problems with me that he can't necessarily fix in the first place. And so she goes along with it, which is not necessarily a pun cosigned move. But then again, agreeing to keep it secret in the first place isn't necessarily a pun cosigned move. Sticking to your word and keeping your word is a pun cosigned move. She's found herself in a situation that isn't necessarily ideal, right? Because you're kind of damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Put yourself in a bad spot in the first place. Hayate gets in there and basically announces that the fight is in fact over, and he just keeps it rolling. Like, we ain't got no time. Like, next series of fights. And the next fight is gonna be between Zaku Abami, who's the broken arm boy from the Hidden Sound that Sasuke broke his arms whenever he was high on that curse mark chakra. Yeah. Versus Shino Aburame. And Shino is the bug guy, the one who never gets any face time, but he's in the squad with Hinata and Kiba. He's a good guy. They square up, and Ino has a flashback to when Sasuke broke his arms, and then wonders how Zaku's going to fight with two broken arms. Hayate goes ahead and kicks off the fight, and Dosu also wonders how Zaku's going to pull it off. He's like, it's going to be a sight to behold, when suddenly Orochimaru casts a couple hand signs and disappears in a plume of smoke. Like, he's not even sticking around to watch his boy fight. Shino Shino warns Zaku that he won't recover from a fight with him and offers him a chance to forfeit and withdraw. And so at this point, Shino's legitimately you don't stand a chance. You can go ahead and withdraw type shit. And of course, he doesn't take him up on this, and he reveals that he actually does have some movement in one of his arms, and he rushes in and throws a punch, and Shino blocks it, and Shino tells him that you wouldn't beat me if you had both arms. And then Zaku hits him with his slicing sound wave with his one good arm, and it sends Shino off flying, and he's laying off to the side, literally smoking. At this point, it takes us back to where Sasuke and Kakashi went, and Sasuke is sitting on the floor with writing all over him, right? Kakashi's got a cut somewhere. You can't see where the cut is, but he's literally writing on Sasuke in blood, and there's also some writing in ink, and it's a pattern that's emanating out from the curse mark into a series of concentric circles. And Kakashi finishes the writing, and he casts the reverse sealing jutsu on Sasuke, which causes the curse mark to absorb all the writing. And Kakashi explains that the reverse seal should keep the curse mark in check, but that the deal is only as strong as Sasuke is, and that it gets its strength from Sasuke's willpower, and that if Sasuke ever wavers, so too will the seal on the curse mark. Sasuke like collapses on the floor from the pain, and just it's a rigorous process to get this put on him, and he's already fought and been in the forest for 7 days, and I mean, he collapses, which Kakashi even remarks, too tired to even argue. When suddenly Orochimaru calls out from the shadows, "My, how you've grown. To think you've become strong enough to perform the curse-sealing jutsu." And he like steps out from the shadows, and Kakashi turns and exclaims, "You!" And Orochimaru tells him it's been a long time, and the episode ends. And some shit's popping off now. Like, you got one of the legendary Sannin squared up with Kakashi Sensei. Kakashi's like between Orochimaru and Sasuke, and like we know that Orochimaru wants Sasuke, so like, wow, what's about to happen? We've got another fight happening in the arena. Let me just dive into my final thoughts, right? Because I'll sit here and meander into shit that I've already got notes for. But it's awesome how hard everybody was watching Sasuke, right? Like, Sasuke is that dude. He's the strongest guy in the class this year, and everybody has like a big vested interest in seeing how well he does, because everybody wants to measure. Like, he's the measuring stick for everybody at this point, and he got to go first, so everybody's like really trying to take it in so that they can measure and compare how well he did versus how everybody in the entire rest of the competition is going to do. It's neat that Sasuke used a move that he copied from Rock Lee, straight up Kakashi Sensei copycat ninja swag. Like, good on Sasuke taking after his sensei, doing the copycat shit. And yeah, you gotta watch what you're doing when you're fighting somebody with a Sharingan. That's the bottom line. And it's neat that Sasuke literally won the fight with a move that he copied, and like even admitted that like if he hadn't learned those moves the way he did, like the evening might have turned out way different. I also think that it's neat that he put his like own spin on it, right? Like, he turned it into the Lion's Barrage with the kicks on the way down. So it's like not only was he able to do it, but he was able to turn it into his own thing now. It's like a unique thing. Also love that he was like, I'm not gonna do that very often. Like, I want my ass. You know, like, how does Rock Lee fucking do this? Insane that Sasuke fought back the curse mark. Remember, the curse mark should have killed Sasuke by now, but instead he's actually got the power to keep fighting and to fight it at the same time. And not only to fight it, but to fight it and win, and to fight somebody and win. Like, he beat Yoroi and the curse mark simultaneously. So he's a gangster, man. Just how strong is Sasuke? Shit's got Orochimaru fiending, like, give me that. Like, he's such a creep. It's so wonderful. Like, I haven't seen some of this shit in years, and so watching it again is like, wow, they did great with some of these characters. They really did great with some of these characters, man. And it's really like endearing and nostalgic the second time around. Naruto noticed the curse mark, but Sakura later lied to him about it, keeping her promise to Sasuke. So, like, Naruto saw it, Sakura's lying on it for the sake of Sasuke. Sasuke's trying to keep Naruto blind for the sake of the team. There's this like weird dynamic going on. Hopefully, like, trust can be achieved entirely, right? Like, everybody needs to be fully informed all the time, right? Everybody recognizes Sasuke as the strongest in the class, right? He's the strongest, at least in the Leaf, for sure. Sasuke reminds Guy Sensei of a young Kakashi, which is dope, right? Like, copycat ninja swag. Copied his Kakashi's pupil, copied Guy's pupil, and Kakashi was copying Guy back in the day. It's too perfect how they've got this lined up transgenerationally with this like generational feud that's going to be going on. They're setting up some fun stuff. At least I hope. While they're still letting Zaku fight with broken arms. Like, whose fucking idea was that? Like, bro, both your arms are broken. Like, you're out. You're out. You're out of the competition, man. Fuck. Then again, he just blasted the fuck out of Shino with his slicing sound wave. And like, Shino's like on the ground smoking right now. So he's not fucking useless. It's just like, damn it, man. He had to like reveal that he could use one arm mid-fight in order for it to even be like reasonable. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. As of right now, it looks like Shino's gotten his ass beaten. So that might be the end of the fight. We're gonna see. Hopefully not. That'd be pretty goddamn anticlimactic. Kakashi successfully seals the curse mark so that I guess Sasuke will be able to lead a little bit more normal life when Orochimaru reveals himself, and like it's clear that long time no see. It's amazing how strong you've grown. There's clearly like some backstory, right? And we'd already talked about in previous episodes how Orochimaru is clearly like from the Leaf, legendary 3 Sannin are from the Leaf. And he's just out doing like gangster shit. He's defected, right? And we haven't heard anything about the other two, so maybe they all 3 defected. But like, remember the legendary Sannin? They're all badasses. There are at least, 2 other motherfuckers out there, or 2 other motherfuckers were out there at some point that are on Orochimaru's level, and Orochimaru is clearly like a problem. So there could be other problems out there. There could be big allies out there. But we're going to see what happens with this showdown between Kakashi and Orochimaru, right? Like, damn, Coach is about to fight one of the legendary Sannin, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he's going to be able to use the 1,000 Years of Death jutsu on Orochimaru. But, at any rate, I could talk about this for days. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Joshua. I'm your Konoha companion. Like, follow, share, participate online, guys. Let's build a little community of like-minded individuals so we can enjoy ourselves online. Gang, peace everybody. I really appreciate the good vibes. Catch you on the next one.
Monkey mouth, monkey